manual, which is what you guys need in order to pass the exam in the first place. Just give me a second to send it over to you. Perfect. All right, so what you guys should see now is the manual that you guys should be studying for the Explorer promotional exams. Literally 90% of the questions that's going to be on the exam on the day of is literally going to come word for word in the book. Sometimes they might reword it a little just to throw you off and make it confusing, like the Regents exams do. But at the end result is still the same. The answers are literally all in there. All right. And then I'll even show you, let me send something else. So that way everybody's aware of this and nobody doesn't get effed up on the day of. Ooh, that was a mistake. All right, well, anyways, well, I take care of that later. We're just gonna go over the exam. I even have a mock exam made up and everything. So we're gonna give that as a practice run later on. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions as we go through this study session, just drop whatever you're saying in the chat, or you can just say it vocally as well. Doesn't matter if you're cutting me off or whatever, because this is just for everybody in general. And most of you guys probably never took the exam or are taking it for a second time or third time. So just bear with me here. Oh, yeah, by the way, who here is taking the exam again, but they're going a step up, like as in you're a sergeant now taking it for a lieutenant and you're a lieutenant taking it for a captain? How many people are taking it for the second time? Just two, three. Okay. This is like a good three, four, about a good five people. Okay, that's fine. And everybody else is pretty much brand spanking new. Okay. So, for the people that are taking the lieutenants and the captain's exams, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is kind of the same, except your lieutenants and captains are probably gonna get more so as a written response questions. I'll show you in a moment. But yeah, most of you guys for the white shirts exams, you guys are gonna be doing a lot of not a lot, just like maybe like two or three questions that are gonna ask you to write something as more like a paragraph response. All right, so I'll deal with this later. All right, so let me just open up let me share the screen on the sergeant the manual real quick. All right, can everyone see the screen? Can everyone see the exam? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So as I'm going through this, I'm gonna try my best to also highlight the stuff that is important for you guys to know. All right. Because majority of the stuff in the manual, I'll let you guys know now that they merged since 2019 or 2018. They merged some of the stuff in here that explorers should know and the stuff that advisors should know. So there's actually a few chapters or a few sections that technically you as explorers should not even know at all, but it's more advisor information. So I'm gonna do my best to highlight all the stuff that is important, like say this part, and then I'll just say, yeah, it's say like this whole thing right here. It's technically important. It's probably most likely definitely gonna be on the exam. All right, so I'm gonna do my best and just highlight as much of this stuff as possible and be like, so, boom. All right, so I'm gonna try and do my best and go over all this stuff here. So that way everybody's up to speed on this and you guys can update your own manuals. Hopefully you guys got them on hand right next to you so that we can make the updates and the corrections right now. All right. So starting up with chapter 1, like I said to the people in the rank chat or to certain people basically, I just pretty much said that yes, you should pretty much know an idea of everything in chapter 1. All right. You should know about what the manual is, what the issues, security, use of manual, and all that stuff. You should know that for sure. Everything in here is pretty much 100% important. All right. Chapter 2, purpose of the manual. Not gonna lie, everything. You should know all this stuff. It's gonna be in there. All right. Chapter 3, the goals, objectives, and policies. All right. Won't lie again, all of it is gonna be in here. Especially this one, yeah, fraternization. All right, it's all going to be in here, and it's best that you guys understand as much as you can. And don't worry, like I said, I'll go through everything as neat as possible. And then we get to the annoying part. So, chapter 4, I'll tell you right now, the part where it talks about the organization command structures. Yes, that chart that you guys see from the very beginning, you don't really need to know all of that part, but the stuff that talks about like the explorers and everything at the bottom. Actually, let me see if I'll get there. Oh wait, hold up. Someone's joining up right now. All right, so we go to chapter 4. I'm just skipping ahead so you guys can understand what I'm saying. All right, so this stuff, this organization command structure here with the police commissioner and the chief and all that stuff, yeah, that's not really important. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not really important because you as an explorer, you only need to know these last three totem poles, right? All this from the bottom here, that's pretty much what you need to know. All right, this goes to all the white shirts and the sergeants trying to take the exam. Everyone, you only need to know this part. All right, and the post executive officer, aka your white shirt in your precinct or command, and the CEO, the main explorer in charge. All right, that's technically what you really should know. You just need to know that. Everything else on top of this structure, yeah, this you don't need to know. Everything from associate advisor up, you really don't need to know. You really do not need to know. All right. So let me go back just so I cleared the confusion because there's two chain of commands. Like this post chain of command, the one that actually tells you how the post is supposed to be structured, is good to know. Organizational structure, also good to know. All right. Then we get to more into the advisor stuff. The advisor stuff, all the stuff from Explorer Coordination Unit to the Explorer Borough Explorer. Wait, actually, hold up. All right. So if you are a sergeant or anybody else, pretty much really, you don't need to know anything up until this point, 4.1603. You don't really need to know too much of all that. You really don't. If you are a lieutenant taking a captain's exam, you will need to know, obviously, your captain requirements. You obviously need to know that. All right. Post executive officer, you need to know that if you're taking a captain's exam. All right. post commanding officer, you need to know that stuff. All right. That is the stuff for the captains. All right. Everything downwards for you lieutenants that's trying to take the lieutenant's exam. All right. Obviously, you should know all this stuff over here. Sergeants, people trying to take the sergeant's exam, you should know all this section over here. We invite that person. All right. Yeah. You should know all this person. Sergeants, you guys need to know your stuff. You need to know the squad sergeant as well. All right. And everybody in general have better at least understand what the corporals and the explorers are. All right. Everyone should know that part. Right. But yes, this is indicatively what chapter 4 you guys could and must study on, especially. All right. These things for sure. All right. And notice how I cut all that stuff out for you. I pretty much helped you guys out. I just cut half of chapter 4 and saying, yeah, you only need to know this stuff. You really do. Because the Chiefs, yeah, you don't really need to know much about the Chief stuff. You really don't. All right. Because it makes no sense if you're taking the lieutenants or sergeants or captain, but you're expected to know the Chief stuff. You really don't. You honestly do not. All right. Chapter 5, personnel. All right. Personnel, you will be expected to know a really good chunk of everything in the personnel section. All right. I'll tell you the really important ones, in my opinion. Reporting late for duty, reporting illness, all right, leave of absence, resignation, reinstatement. Yeah, I guess that's important. Personnel matters, residence, address, telephone. I mean, yeah. All right. Do we have to know the captain role in our post or the captain? Know the captain in our post or the captain role? Okay, so if you are not a lieutenant, or wait, do we have to know the captain in our post or the captain role? You only need to know the captain role. You only need to know the captain role. You don't need to know like the actual captain of the precinct or the actual captain of your command. You don't really need to know that. It's mainly you're trying to know what the job entails and what your responsibilities are. You don't really need to know exactly who is in command, like who is the direct person in command. So yeah, that's a good question. It took me a while to understand that. But yeah, personnel roles, I say you guys need to go a really good chunk. Physical fitness, of course. Reporting for duty, of course. Uh, I don't want to say everything, but on the safe side, just know at least most of this stuff here. All right. Most of this stuff here. All right. Chapter 6. You guys know for a serious fact everything. Everything in chapter 6. All right. Your uniforms. I know some of you guys in NYPD don't even have a class A, B, or C, or none of the above, or all of the above. I mean, you don't have any of those stuff. But as a leader of the Explorer program, you are expected to know what the uniform is, what is expected, and you obviously damn well better know that you can't mix match. I've seen too many Explorer posts try to mix match the A's and the C's and the B's and the C's. I'm like, it's not gonna work. It just looks retarded. All right, chapter 7, rules of conduct. All right, so public statements. You guys are not allowed to make public statements. All right, rewards. Obviously, the drugs and alcohol stuff, criminal conduct, verbal abuse, conduct itself, prohibited conduct, all that stuff. Pretty much know a good chunk. It's same thing with like personnel. You're expected to know a really good majority of almost everything in the rules of conduct. All right. Hell, even personal appearance, I could say that, and compliance of orders. I'll just say this, like the stuff in rules of conduct and the personnel chapter, it's most common sense. Like it's stuff that obviously, if you're going to work for a professional organization, these are the rules, these are the rights and wrongs, these are what you should do, what you should not do. It's most common sense. So You just need to have a good grasp of knowing what exactly is the proper protocol and procedure to doing this or that or whatever. All right. Chapter 8, discipline. Now, this is kind of funny because, in my opinion, and this is just me because as an explorer myself that took all the exams, I took the sergeants, I took the lieutenants, I took the captains, all right. I even applied for chief one time, but literally for the discipline part, is not too much that's like seriously egregious that you have to know. Sorry, what happened? Okay. All right. But yeah, there's nothing too egregious that you have to know for this part. All right. Obviously, you guys know the importance of discipline. You guys know that there's no discrimination, any of that stuff. Duty status of explorers, be all right to know. All right, disciplinary action. Complaints of criminal duty, appeal of disciplinary action, duty to cooperate. I'll say this part. Duty to cooperate. Yeah, I could say this part. What else? I might say that's it. Maybe even this part, the complaints of criminal activity. But again, this kind of falls under, like I said earlier, with the personnel and all that with common sense. The discipline part, they never try to ask too much about that because you guys know what the discipline and what like what the or else is basically what it's saying. Or else you get kicked out, or else you get suspended, or else you have some type of disciplinary action or conduct that's made by advisors or the CEO of the post. Chapter 9, I will post meetings, trainings. Okay, so this is kind of another advisor thing. This is definitely another advisor thing. I'll get to that later. I want to skip that because that's actually a new chapter that I myself am not 100% familiar on because they just added this. And literally, like I said, half these things is like advisor stuff. All right, so I'll get to chapter 9 in a moment. Chapter 10, the news media information. So, yeah, release statements on department policy. That is a good, important one because, like I said, oh shit. Um, get rid of that. All right, but yeah, the statements based on department policy, you guys know as explorers, you can't make statements about NYPD or for NYPD. Informants, that's a good thing. Media relations, all right. This doesn't really exist, so I don't want to say you have to know this part, right? But who knows? When I go over it with you guys, I might change my mind. Right? But I want to say this is as much you should know in chapter 10 because the biggest important outline of this chapter 10 is basically saying you're not allowed to make media statements, you're not allowed to do any PR on behalf of the department and all that stuff. That's basically what it is. All right, chapter 11, proficiency bars. Every goddamn bar and program, award, and all that stuff. Everything. Everything. Every single thing. Know everything. All right. Cannot be a rank, cannot be a leader if you go to competitions or academies or whatever citywide events and then you see people with successful proficiency awards and bars and whatnot, or they talk about these cool events and stuff that they do and not know what these accomplishments mean. All right. All right. So I'll go overlook through the chapters in a second. Just let me move some stuff around and I'll even blow up one of the stuff I'm trying to send to you in a second. Actually, let me stop the screen for a second. Let me try to send you guys something that's very important and that nobody, in true honesty, doesn't really have at all. But it's really good to know because for years in my time, they put this on the exam. I don't know why. Maybe it was the Chiefs at the time. I don't know. But this question always kept coming up on the exam. And this question was always, or actually, three questions actually. And it was always about the law enforcement exploring SEAL. So that link, that PDF I just sent to you all is literally a PDF about the Explorer SEAL and everything that it stands for. Technically, in hindsight, you as explorers should all know this. You as explorers should technically all know this, as you guys are wearing the uniform all day, every day. You're you are literally wearing the exploring seal on your chest and shoulders when going to events and meetings and whatnot. So when the public do ask you these questions as like, why does it look like this? Or what is law enforcement explorers? Or what does the seal represent and whatnot? You should know. Morally, you should know. All right. So I guess that stands to the reason as to why the bosses back in the day made us understand and know this type of knowledge. It makes sense. And again, I can't say that they're morally wrong for us to forcibly know this, but at the same time, not a lot of us knew about it, and it's not in your manuals. So, yeah, that's why some of us were pissed back in the day whenever we got those questions. But now I'm helping you guys out with that part. Make sure you know the law enforcement exploring seal. Actually, we about to go over that. All right. Let me start the share screen again. All right, cool. So we got the seal. Perfect. All right. So in the law enforcement exploring seal, I'm telling you, there are probably going to be questions all about this seal. Maybe 3 or 4 questions total. You don't see a PDF? It's called LFL Explorer Seal. I just put it in the chat though. It's in the chat, so try to download it first if you got it. Let me know if everyone else already got the manual and the seal PDF. Does everyone have that stuff? Nothing. The seal PDF is not in the chat. Damn. Oh, I know what happened. That's my fault. I direct messaged. Okay, yeah. That's me being retarded. I direct messaged somebody the stuff. So I apologize. That's on me. Let me send the stuff again. All right, now everybody should get the seal and the manual. Now everybody should have it. I was like, no one didn't get it until I see, oh, I DM'd somebody. Okay. All right, let me know if this went through now. Okay, copy. All right, gotcha. All right, perfect, awesome. Now everyone's got this. All right, now nobody can be shocked when they exam asks you questions like, for example, as I'm going through this now, on this exam, they might ask questions of like, what does the circular form of the seal represent? You would say it represents continuous existence. All right, what does the blue represent? The dominant blue, it represents justice. All right. The inner circle contains a shield, right? Notice how the symbol there's actually a it's divided by 4, right? So the top left, it's like America, top right means something else, bottom left is this, bottom left is that. Yeah, it's actually a whole different explanation as to what it all means, right? So let's talk about the eagle at the very top. The eagle itself, I hate myself. This little highlighter situation sucks. But the eagle represents the national coverage of law enforcement exploring. So that would be the answer. All right. That's what the eagle is. All right. The shield. All right. You see that where the 4 are divided and it's being held together by that badge looking shield in the circle where the eagle is holding it, that shield itself stands for a unified strength. All right. So yeah, you guys would know. Pretty much I would actually highlight almost all the stuff. Unified strength in its membership and is composed of 4 quadrants, each having its own meaning. Obviously, the 4 meanings are right here. All right. The flag on the top left represents the principles of democracy. I'll highlight the most important ones just so you can get a good understanding what it means. All right. Obviously, 13 colonies, 13 stars. All right. Number 2, top right actually represents municipal police departments. So you guys know how you guys are under NYPD? Yeah, you're a municipal police department. Nassau County, for example, is not exactly a complete municipal police department. For a sense, it's not. It is and it isn't. It's confusing, right? So technically, it is too. But then when you get to the gray areas of like you go upstate and there are only police counties or sheriff departments and whatnot that literally only have like 4 officers in their police force. Yeah, that's not a municipal. Municipal is more like for a city or a complete departmental organization that is held under a strong government, so to speak. So yeah, like NYPD, for example, you guys would be that municipal police department, right? On the bottom left, right? 7-pointed star. Yep. The bottom left, that is both municipal, well, actually county sheriffs. Hold on. Let me correct that. All right. So on the bottom left, all right, symbolic of county sheriff departments, all right? Those small police forces, right? Law enforcement explorer posts. Each is set on a white field. White divided by another one. Sorry, I'm also getting a lot of people joining. How can I be aware? Oh yes, Nancy. So that is sort of my bad because I actually told only a few people about this. I just made this idea up like a few days ago, like 2 or 3 days ago, to do this study session. So I'll try to be more copacetic with everybody as a whole. I try to want to get as much as I can. I was surprised to get this many people. I was expecting like 4 or 5, to be honest. But the fact that your advisors or your other explorers in your post told you about this last minute and you were able to do it, that is a really good thing. And I'll try to streamline it more for everybody as a whole next time. And most likely they'll either tell you face to face or maybe an email. Mostly it's gonna be through text though. So yeah. Back to this. Alright, so yeah, that's the sheriff's presents a field of white divided by horizontal and vertical lines. obviously, as you guys can see in this symbol on the bottom left, right? All right, skip all the wording and all that stuff. Number four. Number four, lower right. It's all right. So it's got two descriptions. You got the torch and you got the three stars. The torch is symbolic, and I fucked up again. God, I hate this. All right, the torch is symbolic of the guiding light shown on a profession. All right. So the torch basically just means aid of the sponsor or guiding light shown profession. All right. Say all that stuff here. All right, the three stars, which I knew that was an important one too. The truth, knowledge, and integrity. Okay, so this one definitely is also another important one. It talks about the three stars on the bottom right: truth, knowledge, and integrity. All right, that's stuff you should know as well. And then finally, we got the big E in the middle. Big E represents unity. All right, it presents unity. That's it. I'm like, I remember this. I remember this was on the exam one time, and yes, it just says, "What does a big E represent? Does it represent this word, that word, this word, that word?" And then when I saw unity, I knew that was the answer right away. So yeah, if it asks what the big E means in exploring unity, that's what it means. All right. Then you got the unfortunate. Other explorer. So the ranks that I'm in connection with are going to get this information first. All right, they get the information, and I pray that they actually streamlined it to as many people as they can because I always tell them in advance of stuff. Like this, for example, it wasn't too much advance, it was more like 3 days in advance I gave them, or 2 days in advance. All right, so the ranks of NYPD, like the NYPD explorers that are sergeants, lieutenants, or whatever, they would, some of them or most of them, not all of them, would get the information. All right. I would try to help fill in the cracks by telling as many or as a few advisors myself. All right. And then at that point, I just pray and hope that it gets to as many people as I can. Because another thing I should also take into notice is that this is not actually a, I would say, authorized thing that I'm doing. That's like, yeah, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm more like doing this on my own time, so to speak. So yeah. I'll give that to you after this. I'll give that to you after this on the group chat. The test will be on multiple choice, Leslie. So yes, the multiple choice exam for the sergeants. All right, most of it for the lieutenants, and the same thing goes for the captains. The lieutenants and captains, by the way, they do have to be aware that maybe one question for the lieutenants, one or two questions for the lieutenants, maybe three, are going to be written responses. The captains, however, they definitely have to prepare themselves for written responses. They definitely have to prepare themselves. All right. They might ask you, what are all the 12 scenarios? Oh, shit. Give me a second. I have to take this. Sorry. 1 minute break, everyone. and the sergeants, this could apply to you as well. You guys would have to answer the question as in literally list all the 12 scenarios from arrest, search, and seizure all the way down to what's the last one on Z? White collar crime. Yeah, white collar crime. You would list all 12 scenarios. And don't worry, you don't need to know executive protection because that's not really a real scenario. That's just a bunch of stuff we made up as New Yorkers to make it more fun and enticing. So if you try to be smart enough to put executive protection as one of the 12, unfortunately, sir, you'd be wrong because it's not a real scenario. Shoot don't shoot. Shoot don't shoot is counted. Yes, it is one of the 12. All right. The only one scenario that is not count and does not qualify, but we usually do in the city is executive protection. Executive protection does not count. It is not a real national scenario. It is not a real scenario. It is just the stuff that we just made up. All right. Just so everyone is clear on this, and hopefully you guys can streamline this to whoever else is not in the group chat or in this training, and just tell them like, yeah, the exam doesn't count, or even the executive protection doesn't count. All right, so back to this. So you guys for this part would actually need to know this. This person, this man, Kent A. Jeffries, the first National Exploring Chair, you would know this. You would have to know this. All right. Designated the first SEAL of Law Enforcement Explorers, July 12th, 1973. Just know this. You should know that. I don't want to say you should know all this other stuff at the bottom, in my opinion, because it's mainly Kente Jeffries that we were. First business. I don't think you need to know that. Disillusion, outer border. Yeah. I think, in my opinion, the first National Exploring Chair, Kente Jeffries, July 12th, 1973. That's all you need to know at this bottom part, in my opinion. All right. But again, guys, this is just in the event they're still asking questions about the seal. If they're still asking questions about the seal, actually, let me get a. Who here has took the most recent promotional exam? And if you are, say yes or no if they have put a question based on the exploring seal. Oh, I called it. I knew it. Yep. See, they're still doing it. All right. So yeah, for you first timers, especially you sergeants, you would probably need to know this because it's guaranteed probably going to be on the exam. All right, lieutenants and captains as well. You would need to know this. Cool. Everyone's cool on this. All right. So back to thy manual. That is the seal. We just went over the seal. Now we're on the manual. And we sure we got no questions thus far from anyone. I know I kind of went over a lot, but I'm just making sure nobody's not surprised or anything. No questions at all. All right, cool. So, chapter one, the manual. Obviously, you guys need to know that the manual, this part, this whole first part, you need to know who designed it, what was it for. All right, I'm not gonna lie, the questions are gonna be copied and paste. It's gonna be like, what does the law enforcement exploring manual? What is it? And then it'll say like, oh, the manual is issued under the authority of Police Commissioner, City of New York, contains policy, procedures, and regulations related to law enforcement exploring program. The answers and the questions themselves, I'm telling you guys, it's literally copied and paste. All right. It is literally copied and paste. You just got to pay attention to the wordings because sometimes, like one exam question, the answers may say policies, procedures, and regulations. All right. One of the answers could say policies and procedures, but it left out regulations. So, like, just that small bit of knowledge that small wording, miswording, could literally set you up for failure. All right. So just make sure that you guys memorize as much as you can about the passages that you're reading through, all the procedural stuff. You guys should know. All right. You should know all this stuff. Issuing the manual. All right. You guys are expected to have 60 days to familiarize themselves with the contents. All right. You guys should already know this for a fact. 60 days. Write that in your heads. Write that down on a piece of paper or whatever. Make sure you guys know that. 60 days when issuing the manual or when issued the manual. The first year explorers, they got 60 days to memorize it. Next part. Security and maintenance of the manual. It is your duty, explorer's responsibility, all right, to keep the manual up to date. All right. One exam question that they threw at me that was really interesting and it was really good. It was fine. All right. They try to throw us off and say, oh, the advisors, which was an answer, was supposed to keep it up to date for us. No, you as explorers are supposed to keep it up to date. All right. Which means you're supposed to be aware of any changes, whatnot in the future. You're expected to update them, not the advisor. All right. And don't worry, they should usually tell you what they're changing or whatnot. Obviously, the loss of the manual must be reported to the advisor, and they're subject to a disciplinary action. Losing a manual, losing a training guide, you all know that that's already bad enough. That's already shoddy work. Use of the manual, uh, yeah, I'd say no, know this stuff. Use of the manual. Publications, explorers are expected to familiarize themselves. This whole part, right? Damn, this is a long one. Last year, we did not use this manual for studying. The previous chief made a short slideshow. Same exam. Okay, so whatever slideshow that Yave showed to you guys the other time, I don't have it, unfortunately. And the previous, we did not use this manual for studying. They use a slideshow. Uh, I have it if you would like. I can email. Oh yeah, send it. Just you can send it to me. I'm gonna send you my email. So I'm like a slideshow. I never got no slideshow. Oh yeah, slides. The slideshow was based on the manual. Yeah, the slides. I'm assuming he dummied it down because the slideshow had to have been based on the manual. Except he just dummied it down, just got rid of the advisor shit. I'm pretty sure that's what he did. Yes. Yep, I figured, yeah. So yeah, send me the slideshow as I'm going through this. Maybe that'll be much easier than me actually highlighting and going through everything. I'll tell you when I get it. All right, we'll move on to the next part. Let me check my junk. Nope, nothing yet. Wait a minute, I just got it. And let me check my email. Oh, this is you. Okay. All right, we'll use this. We'll use this. Exam slide 2022. Okay. All right, fine. We'll use the exam slides. It's no issue. All right. Let me see what he's got. So it's the same stuff that. Oh, okay. I see. So it's pretty much a watered down version of the stuff that you should know. Requirements, all right, all that stuff. All right, so we'll use this one. We'll use this one for now. We'll use this one because more dummy down version. I just like doing it from the manual itself because the also good thing about doing it directly from the manual is that you pretty much get to see everything word for word and that you pretty much know exactly where the contents of everything is. And also if you try to do your best to like know like a fraction of a certain passage, like for example this, you're pretty much expected to know a good fraction of this entire section. All right, I'd say you need to know up at least a good amount up to here, this whole thing. All right, because they might give you a whole question to where you're basically based off of your memorization skills, have to know which answer is actually the closest. Yeah. So sometimes they might give you a question where it's like it's dead on copy and paste, and you have to basically choose an answer that is literally in the textbook, and it has no errors, no one word is missing out of the sentence or whatever. It is literally said word for word. So that's just my opinion. Um, so let me ask you guys actually, do you want the can we do one without the slides one of these days? Doing the manual is so much better. All right, so yeah. All right. So I'll go over the manual. I'll go over the manual, and then I'll try to do it really fast, and then we'll try to, if we have time, because I don't want you guys being on this like past 8 o'clock. No way. Uh, we'll try and get to the slides. Well, that's really good slides that I saw. Anyway, so I'll try to do I'll try to do the manual thing real quick. All right. So where was I? Oh yeah, we're using the manual, other publications. We got that. We got that stuff. All right. Mission statement, like I saw in the PowerPoint. You should know all this. This whole thing. The mission statement. You need to know this. All right. Purpose of the mission and all that. Know all this stuff up here. Our motto. There's no way you're gonna be a sergeant or higher and you don't know our motto. Post motto, you can forget. You don't need to know all that. Post motto's garbage, by the way. The Explorer code. So, this is interesting because you sergeants technically are always going to get a question like this. What is the Explorer code? They might, for especially you captains and lieutenants, they might give you a written version and you're expected to fill in the blanks, or you're actually expected to write a whole sentence or um a whole sentence out of the entire phrase. Like they got everything from as an explorer all the way to I will treasure my American heritage, and you're expected to fill in the I will recognize part. They might do that, and at the same time they might not. All I know is they always do people dirty and throw the explorer code in there. You don't really have to know all of it, but I'm saying for the best of your ability, if you really want to pass dead on, try to know as much of the verbiage in the Explorer code. All right. Try to know as much as you can about the Explorer code. Just do your best. I know it's almost impossible because I myself can't even memorize everything. I remember as an explorer all the way to I will treasure. I forgot about I will recognize it, I will acquire. So yeah, it's not easy, but just do your very best to know as much of the Explorer code as you can. Everyone. Non-discrimination, no, you don't need to know all this. You don't need to know all this. This is just BS. You don't need to know all that. All right, post membership. You don't need to know all this. This is the advisor, the boring advisor stuff I'm talking about. This is the boring advisor stuff that you really are required to know. All right, probation period. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, the explorers are expected to complete 3 months probation. So remember, 60 days to know the manual, 3 months on probation. All right, 60 days with the manual, 3 months probation. Explorers shall be entitled to all the rights, privileges, of members. Okay, cool. All right, goals. I mean, I guess up to here. Pretty much. It's kind of obvious. Recruitment. Uh, One thing you guys should know: you can't be a cadet and be or auxiliary and be an explorer. That's obviously the one golden rule that we have in explorers. You cannot be a cadet, you cannot be an auxiliary, and you can't be an explorers at the same time. It's never gonna happen. It's not happening. So yeah, that's recruitment. That's a eh. Okay, education, very important one. C average 2.0 for your explorers. Lieutenants and higher, get that B average 3.0. All right. Explorers got to submit transcript and report card to the post advisors each marking period. You got to know this one. It's always on the exam. Community relations. Yeah. I won't say it's like you really should know, but again, it's common sense. Who's me? All right. Exploring community service. All right. Yes, this one you should know. Every Explorer post is expected to have 25 hours a month of community service, right? You should know that. And this is also probably good to know as well. Explorers are not to be used in assignments requiring police enforcement, lineups, covert operations, all that stuff. All right. Character building, again, common sense. Explorers quickly learn the highest standards. Again, it's common sense. You guys should know this. Leadership development. Common sense. I was trying to skim through the common sense stuff because there's no point in me highlighting it when you obviously should know what it means to be an explorer. Pride in service. Reflect upon it, take pride. Common sense. You should know that. Prohibited. You know what? Let me just so people's not confused. When I mean common sense, as in you should know this, and there's no reason for me to highlight that. Well, I'll highlight the title of it, meaning that you should be aware that you should know this. All right. Prohibited post conduct. All right, now this is something you need to know. So certain activities are prohibited. Anyone who engages the acts will fall in disciplinary action. Common sense, again, it's common sense. All right, use of covert actions, uniform modifications. Wait till we get to chapter 6. But yeah, that's a really good one. All right. Use of covert actions. They have given us questions where they took this word for word. You should know this. Not involved, not indirectly engaging in covert action, strictly prohibits explorers, the yada yada yada. You should know that. That you should definitely know. Not involved covert actions. You guys are not secret police. You're not secret agents, you're explorers and civilians. Fraternization. Now we're getting to the fun part. Fraternization. All right. We do not condone explorers and adult leaders or other affiliated adults getting together. AKA, you explorers getting it with advisors is a no no. You explorers getting it with other explorers in the same post, that is a no no. Right? And I know some of you guys probably have seen this or experienced it yourself. I am telling you right now, what you're seeing is wrong and it should never happen. It is a gross practice that, unfortunately, for safety and for historical reasons too, it is a very bad thing that, again, it still goes on and most people are whatever about it, but it's actually a serious issue, right? So yes, fraternization between explorers and adult leaders, explorers and other explorers in the same post, it's a no. No, you should know this. Especially as future leaders yourselves. There's no way you can be a sergeant or lieutenant or even especially a captain or chief and be okay with this. I already went over this, the Explorer Program Organization chart. You don't really need to know all this stuff except everything from the stuff that is highlighted. All right. Everything else is just advisor stuff that you really don't need to know. And let me send a message to somebody real quick because they're trying to get into the meeting. So let me send that out real quick. Fortunately, this is stopping me. All right, I'm back. So we are going to be going down towards the required roles for you guys. All right, so the post chain of command. You guys should know this. This whole thing, unfortunately, you should know this. I will do you better and say this. I'll do you better and you should do this. You should know everything from here. All right, all this chief parts. This it's basically the same ladder that you guys are pretty much learning in that previous slide, except this time it's like more of a post-wise thing. Sorry, can everyone hear me? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try just make sure my phone. I'll try and make sure I'm right next to it. All right, so yeah, you guys should know everything down here. This whole thing, everything down here, you should know. All right, how the structure works. All right, you got your squad explorers. All right, the explorers are at the bottom of the totem pole. Corporals are the second in line. Sergeants are the third in command or third line in charge. Right, then it goes up to your lieutenants and whatnot. All right. I know the training and admin is confusing as hell. It's really confusing as hell, but you don't really need to worry about where the line goes. You just need to best understand how the rank structure is supposed to look like. because they might give you a picture about it, just a picture about it, and just be like, where does the Explorer Corporal fall under? And you would say, well, technically it falls on top of the Explorers, but below the sergeants, which I would be basically right. So you just gotta base. I'm not saying you to memorize everything. I'm just saying you to understand the idea. And the idea is explorers at the bottom, then corporals, then the sergeants, and so on and so forth. All right, that's pretty much the idea. And do them better because I like this one more than this one, to be honest. I'd say memorize 1000% this chain of command. You need to memorize this. All right, you need to memorize the whole enchilada, all of this. If you want to be a rank, you got to know who your subordinates are and who are the superiors that you report to or that report to you. Right? Explorers, corporals, sergeants, lieutenants, captains, deputies, inspectors, deputy chiefs, all the way up to the chief of explorers. Right? And you also have to memorize. You guys also have to memorize the insignia. Literally what each and every insignia looks like because they are all different. All right. Corporals got 2 chevrons. Sergeants have 3. 3. You would not believe how many times people get that wrong on the question and they say, oh, it's 2. But no, it's actually 3. Right? Corporals got 2. It's not 1, it's 2 for corporals. Sergeants, you guys got 3. Lieutenants, you guys got a yellow bar. Captains, you got 2 bars. Deputies, inspectors, you guys got an oak leaf. Inspectors, you guys got a giant eagle holding a freaking asparagus. All right. Deputy chiefs, you got 1 star. Assistants, 2. Explorer chiefs, 3. The chief of explorers, 4. That's literally it. And obviously, if you're not a lieutenant, you're obviously a blue shirt. If you're not a lieutenant, you're a blue shirt. You have to be a corporal to take the sergeant's test? No, you don't. Nope, you do not. Corporals are post-appointed positions, so they do not require you to be at that position in order to take the sergeant's exam. You can be an explorer, but skip corporal and go all the way to sergeant. You can do it. All right. Ugh. Now we're getting to the advisor part again. Okay, doesn't the guide say that you have to be a corporal? No, because it's a post-appointed rank. We're getting there, so I could be wrong, so maybe might be right, so you might check me on that one. But I'm pretty sure it's a post-appointed position, so you're not required to be a corporal in order to go to the sergeant. All right, so organization structure. Yeah, you don't need to know all this. All this stuff that is already highlighted, you don't need to know. You don't need to know this part. The guide says you have to be a corporal for a minimum of 3 months. Oh shit. They really did you guys dirty. Alright. No, you're good. Okay, yeah, so maybe they did change it. Because again, I'm also going by my experience too. So they probably changed the rulings on this. You also have 50 hours of community service. Okay. Yeah, but we'll get there. All right. So let me just go through this. So yeah, all this stuff that is highlighted, ignore it. It's all advisor stuff. Ignore it. The bureau supervisor, ignore it. Post committee chairperson, ignore it. Committee, ignore. Committee, ignore. Post advisor, ignore. 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 Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so let me start at the bottom and then I'll work my way up. for this part. So, explorers, everyone should know this. Obviously, common sense. You guys should know everything in this explorer section. All right. You should know all this. I don't want to highlight it, but just for you guys to get an idea. All right. Corporals. So, assume the duties of squad leader, squad sergeant. All right. Corporals will set an example. I don't see will assist. Here's the main number. Okay. So yeah, that's corporal. And yeah, you see it's appointed by the NYPD advisor, but I don't know, maybe you guys' manuals, or maybe when I get to the sergeant part. Okay, at any all right, so now we're at the sergeant's part. So this for you sergeants actually. At any explorer sergeant, 1 day in rank, eligible to apply. Sitting if the explorer sergeant receives a passing. Huh.
I think you passed the part. Go to above the highlighted. It's in
Oh,
there. It
okay.
says rank of corporal for 3 months.
Oh, okay, okay. Nice, nice. Okay. So I'm glad you guys actually caught that because again, I didn't as I was skimming through this, because again, I was going by my old manual back in the day. So I wasn't sure if they actually changed that, but they actually did. So yeah, you need 3 months of corporal. All right. And 50 hours. Shit. All right, 50 hours community service. 3 hours of corporal, 50 hours of 3 months of corporal, 50 hours of community service. All right, cool. See, even I'm learning stuff too, and I'm the teacher. And 3 citywide community service events. All right, cool. That's for the sergeants. And again, all this stuff, word for word. Yeah, all this stuff is literally word for word. So, like the sergeant's exam, they will have a question exactly like this, and your duty is to basically fill in or basically answer in a multiple choice which one has the correct information. One says 95, the next one could say 90, one says 50 hours, the other one says 25 hours, one says one community service, one citywide service event, the other one could say two or three. So it's just your duty to at least memorize and understand how many, what you have to do, and so on and so forth. All right, cool. Thank you. You guys actually called me on that one. So yeah, thank you very much for that because again, I still getting to how they changed in the corporals and sergeants part, especially making the sergeants a required citywide exam. All right. So promotions. Actually, let me go back.
Anytime.
Let me go back down to see I didn't forget anything about corporals. Nope, I didn't really miss much. Just again, common sense, which you guys should know, right? Squad sergeant must set an example, following the rules. See, they're not gonna go too big on the squads and the administration. They're really not. I'm telling you right now, they're not gonna get too much like nitpicky on like what does the squad sergeant do or what does the admin sergeant or admin lieutenant do. They're not gonna go too much into detail on that. I really telling you they're not gonna. They're not gonna. It's too much. All right. So this whole squad sergeant thing, in my opinion, don't really have to know. All right, squad sergeant's primary for training. I mean, I guess you can try and understand the idea of what the squad sergeant's roles are, what the responsibility is. All right, squad sergeant's responsible for, I guess this exciting. Yeah, that's it. All right, there's one or two bullet points with the squad sergeant. That's it. But like I said, the squads and the administration, you don't really need to like overly obsessively understand, right? Then we're gonna go towards yeah, same thing with admin. Admin is the same thing, like it's asking for the squad sergeant, but it's just a small section that they'd like to add, but it's nothing important or new. So you don't really need to know the admin thing either. All right. Now we're working our way up to oh, there's the admin. There's the rest of the admin stuff. All right. So the admin, it's literally the same thing. The requirements is copied and paste. Again, just know that you need to have done the academy. You need to have done 95% of the post meetings. All right. 50 community service hours, 3 citywide activities. All right. The dang rank of corporal for 3 months. It's literally the same thing. You don't need to overly exaggerate or overly understand it. It's just that. All right. And all you can just copy in this bullet point, I guess, for the admin if they go super nitpicky, I guess. You're gonna say, yeah, they're responsible for registration and records. That's it. Honestly, I would just stop right there. That's it. That's all the admin people are. They just hold records and paperwork. That's it. They're never gonna go too far into it. All right, moving on up. All right, your lieutenants. All right, then we get into the platoon commanders and all that. Again, different titles and names, it's the same thing. So if you're a training lieutenant or a platoon commander or whatever, it is the same requirement. Must done the academy. Again, 95% of the post meetings. All right. Must have been a rank of sergeant for 1 year. Must have done 100 community services. 100 community service hours. Bad. 5 citywide activities. All right. And 2 community service projects. If you guys are confused, citywide activities, just giving you an idea, it's like a major white community service or learning for life event or whatever that you basically took part of. All right. It could be a competition, it could be a community service, could be anything to be honest. And a citywide community service project is kind of like an idea of a community service that you made up just to give you an idea on what those two things mean. All right. So a project is just an idea that you made up to help the community, and the citywide activities is pretty much the stuff that you guys have been doing. All right. And yes, you can say all this stuff that they highlighted already is important as well. Or it's all right to know. I don't think it's required for the exam. Maybe it is. I could be wrong. Because again, new exam, new highlights. So who knows? All I know is the advisor stuff that they've been throwing in here is really not known. Is really not for you to know. Right? That's it. That's all there is for this part. Lieutenants, you guys got your stuff. And again, training lieutenant is a copy and paste. It's literally a copy and paste. If you want to be nitpicky, dang, I wouldn't even underline anything in here at the bottom. I really wouldn't. In my opinion, I really wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't underline any of that stuff in the bottom. In my opinion. Right? Uh Captains. Dang, admins too. Senate admins, same thing. Captains. All right. You guys need to know all this. All right. Uh let me probably dummy it down in this bottom section. So yes. You need to know these bullet points. I'll say that for you captains. All right. Must have completed. Thank you for taking your time with it. Oh yeah, no problem. Listen, everybody's got my email. So yeah, I'll try to keep you guys appraised if we get another event, another training, a study session, another study session, and then I'll go more into depth with the study guide, and I'll even give you guys an actual practice version that we'll do in the next session, and then we'll go over all the questions and answers. All right, and it's literally the stuff that I personally made up in my time as an explorer. All right, so that way you guys are more ready on the day of. And I'll have the second session around next 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now, like on the 7th or the 11th or 10th. So yeah. So yeah, that's all. But thank you though, Leslie. All right, so captains, you guys need to know all this in email. Hold on a second. Someone's calling me. I know. False alarms. I thought someone was calling me. All right, anyways. So back to this. I want to get this real quick. Captains, you guys gotta get Academy, of course. 95% of the post meetings, of course, previous year. All right. You need to have lieutenant for 1 year. All right. 100 community service hours, which is not that much, to be honest. 5 community service projects. And you need to have these bars: law enforcement service, crime prevention, and emergency preparedness. Side note, who can tell me what law enforcement service colors are? Who can tell me the colors of law enforcement service? Orange and red. All right, who agrees with this man? Who agrees with this young man? Cool, you be right. All right, you would be 100% right. Right? Orange and red. Nice. Obviously, crime prevention and emergency preparedness, you guys should also be expected to know the colors as well, what it stands for, what it means, all that stuff. All right. And if you guys are still confused on the colors, I'll tell you right now, crime prevention, I believe that is green and gold. Yeah, it should be green and gold. All right, emergency preparedness is red and white, like the EMT medics. So yeah. So yeah, that's what you need to know, captains. That's what you guys need to know. And technically, as captains, you guys are pretty much the executive officers or the CEO of the post, so you're technically expected to know this stuff as well. And the same can almost be said for the lieutenants as well. You lieutenants also need to probably understand this part as well. In some manner of perspective. You don't really need to, but you might only need to know this part. This, because honestly, this post executive position is kind of for deputies. This stuff is entirely for deputies. Recruitment bar is official, right? I don't know if it's an official recruitment bar. What the? I never heard of a recruitment bar. Honestly, I never heard of a recruitment bar. I'll say this. I don't think it's official. Or maybe, yeah, maybe they probably updated it and it's like a NYPD thing. Yeah, they probably updated and it's like a NYPD thing. Wait, hold on. It's been in like 5 years ago. Right, but I don't think our office in New York actually does that. I think that's the thing because nobody in New York actually puts up for it or never qualified entirely for it. Turquoise red, turquoise and red. Right, yeah, I figured. I figured. Yeah, it's mostly because nobody in the office really qualifies, or anyone in New York would entirely qualify for that. You don't even see NASA explorers qualify for that stuff. Ugh. Right. But don't worry. I'll tell you later on as I'm texting my employee in the office about the proficiency bars, whether if you guys should know that or not. But yeah, this is all the stuff that you would need to know. The commanding officer, eh, this is for captains as well, in my opinion, because you would be the CEO. You're like the highest ranking person in the precinct or the command, so you kind of are the person. All right. Captains, you would need to know this, obviously. Appointed for a 1 year term. Yes, sir. All right, that's what you guys are. And these are your qualifications. Academy, 100% attendance at post meetings. And in addition, the rank of lieutenant for 6 months. All right, as to be a CEO of the precinct or the command that you're in. All right, that's it. So we got through the harsh part, did the lieutenants, captains, and the sergeants. We got through it, and now we're at chapter 5. Personnel. Yeah, like I said earlier, most of this stuff is like common sense. So you should be expected to have physical fitness. You should be expected to have telephone or some type of connection with the advisor in the event something goes wrong. All right. Yeah, all of this, honestly, all of this is like common sense. Just have an idea of what everything is being said, to be honest. Reporting late for duty, reporting for duty, definitely important. Reporting an illness, important. Volunteer services, volunteer services, yeah. Sports will be responsible for 20 hours a month. Yes, sir. Very important. You guys, as volunteers, have to make 20 hours a month. And it's very interesting too because it's almost impossible for you now to fail the requirement of an explorer post has to do 25 when you explorers are expected to do 20 in a month. So it's almost impossible for you guys to fail that requirement. All right. Community service. You don't have to know this part that was already highlighted. This is the advisor shit. So you don't need to know this. Community service, leave of absence. Yeah, I guess that's common sense. Resignation, not too much like you really need to know it, but get an idea of understanding it. So common sense. Reinstatement, I honestly just skipped this part. I honestly just skipped that part. All right. All right. Uniforms. All right, cool. Now we're getting to the good part, the fun part. All right. Uniforms. Uniforms. So you guys already know the beret is for your class A and B. All right. Everything in uniforms has to be memorized. Everything. All right. Where the what the beret is. All right. And that it is worn on the top of your heads. All right. The flash, aka the patch, has to be positioned over the left eye, as you guys see in this photo. The beret itself is one on top. The emblem, the logo, has to be on top of the left eye. All right. Some of you guys put it in the center of your freaking head, and it just looks weird and has to be shaped and crazed. All right. Winter jackets. All right. You guys know what the bomber jackets look like. Unfortunately, some of you guys probably don't have one, but it's an already cool jacket. Windbreakers. You guys know what the windbreakers are. Long sleeves. Definitely. You guys should know what the long sleeve shirts are. All right. They have to be worn with the tie clasp, the collar brass of your command. Right. Same thing with the short sleeve. You need to know all this. Navy blue, white, all that stuff. Collar brass and all that stuff. You need to know that. All right. Short sleeve, golf shirt. All right, your class C's. Obviously, need to know all that. Trousers, aka the gray pants, A and B, need to know all that, or just need to know what the hell a trousers is, or the gray trouser pants, the gray polyester trousers. You guys know what that is, with the blue line strip. The gray BDU pants for the class C's, right? Know that. The ties. This goes with your class A's, ladies and gentlemen, as it said in the little paragraph section. Tie class goes into class A's as well. Shoes and socks. You guys as explorers should definitely know and are already aware of this, especially as academy graduates. Black shoes. Black shoes with black socks. Black shoes with black socks. Some of you guys wear pink, green, yellow, and rainbow colored stuff. Like, I'm like, there's no way. Uh, yeah, that's also another good thing to know. Make sure that it's kind of like a NYPD thing, but make sure there's no visible lettering or anything that's not authorized to wear and all that. All right, a black belt is gonna be a black belt. You need to have a black belt. All right, black belts required on all uniforms. Memo book. I know most of us don't do memo books, but it's actually a part of your uniform. The orange civilian like memo book. Again, most of you guys don't even know what the hell that is, or have never done it, or stopped doing it. It's still in the manual, so it's still part of your uniform. Might be cool if we bring that back one day. It'd be cool. All right. Regulations. All right. You guys know that you cannot wear the uniform in these certain conditions, as in do not modify it. Do not modify it. They probably do. I almost guarantee they do have the memo books. All right, but enough to supply to all precincts and all commands? I don't think so. Especially the orange ones, because you guys as explorers need the orange ones, not the blue ones that NYPD officials use or used to use, but you guys need the orange civilian ones. So yeah, they do have them, but there's not a lot of them. Yes, Nancy, go ahead.
Do you happen to know if we're getting new uniforms anytime soon? Because I know a lot of kids in my post either weren't issued uniforms yet or have like really beat down or like really too big. You know, during drill comp they have really like intense inspections.
Correct. So I don't know about the uniform situation. I heard they were ordering a lot of new uniforms. I just saw in the chat a few hours ago that Chief Chief Mike Hammond, Hammond, he basically asked someone what did they need and all that. So I'm assuming he probably has them on hand. But again, I'm not 100% certain on what is their uniform situation now because I don't really usually handle them. But I do say to people for competition, for example, if they don't have the actual A, B, or C uniforms for everybody, I always just say you guys can make up a post t-shirt of your own and then just try your best to look the same. Like you guys have the same t-shirt, all you need is the same coloring pants and the shoes, and then boom, you're done. That could be your uniform for the post. So it doesn't have to cost you guys too much because it's like what 15, 25 for a t-shirt design individually, and then the shoes and the pants, you guys just come to a consensus on what the same colors you guys want. Obviously, the shoes are going to be black. The pants, you guys could wear gray pants or black cargo pants or green, whatever. It could be your own pant style as long as it's the same and it's consistent. So yeah, that's what I always give to people on the criteria of if they don't have the uniforms, especially for comp, right? But yeah, like I said, Mike just recently said that he has something, or they probably ordered something and it's already here on the way. So I would best actually reach out to him first, and then make sure your advisors. All right, this is also very important. Make sure your advisors reached out to the head people in CAB, specifically Roger and Toussaint, because they're the ones in charge of the uniforms and everything. So make sure that the advisors are talking to them to get you guys the uniforms. All right, because if they're not talking to them, they probably don't know that you're in a you have a uniform shortage. They probably think that you're okay. All right. So that's just my take on the uniform part. And going back onto this, uniforms have to be worn all at the same. All right. Uniforms have to be worn properly, which means the A's are to be worn exactly as said. The B's have to be worn exactly as said. C's as well. Like I said, I really think it's stupid and very wrong for a explorer to have a class C shirt with class A and B pants. The gray trousers with the golf shirt on, it looks really wrong. And then vice versa, the A or B shirt with the BDU pants looks completely wrong. Don't do it. All right, it is wrong. Completely wrong. Do not wear the uniforms outside the meetings or events and all that. You guys need to know all that. Pretty much I would say everything. Is everything. And I know this part is funny because none of you guys follow this rule, but explorers must wear a white V-neck underneath your explorer uniform, A, B, and C. All right. If you don't know what a V-neck is, Google it. It is literally an undershirt that is shaped in the collar section of your body. It's literally shaped like a V instead of a circle. Again, I used to be an explorer. I did all these things. So yeah. Uh Lost or damaged uniforms. Obviously, you lost or got stuff that is broken or whatnot. All right, make sure your advisors are notified, and you are the sole responsibility of making up for that lost or damaged thing. All right, I'll say this: if it faded and whatnot, that's not on you. If it fades, it fades. It's not on you. You don't have to pay for shit. Is it prohibited to wear a regular T-shirt rather than? Technically, it is. It is. It's actually a practice in the police department. You're supposed to wear a V-neck instead of any regular T-shirt or undershirt under that. No. Like you're good because again, the advisors back in the day used to make sure everyone was following the rules. By the way, this is important for you guys to know. Is literally telling you everything I said earlier. But yeah, V-necks were very important back in the day. Kind of sad nobody follows that rule. All right. Oh, the patch and everything is actually here. Oh yeah, that's right. They did add it. Okay, cool. They did. All right, so everything about the patch is actually on here. Cool. And I don't have to highlight everything because I pretty much did it for you already here. So everything I just did here is actually in here. All right, perfect. Why did you guys tell me? All right. Nah, you guys are cool. Um, all right, required equipment. You need to know all this. All right. Another common practice, the nameplates on your A and B uniform. You guys supposed to put your nameplates, a silver or gold nameplate. All right. On the left breast pocket, yes. For your A and B uniforms. All right, black working watch. All right, a black watch, ink pen. collar brass, obviously, your ranks, all that stuff required, and you need to know this. Prohibited. Just know all this stuff. Or better yet, just know the required stuff and whatever's not in here, obviously you know by now that's prohibited. We never do radios. We used to do radios, but for community service purposes or training purposes. And we don't do shields, we don't do scanners, we don't do any of that other crazy crap. It'd be nice if we got IDs again. I mean, some of you in comp got your own goddamn freaking belts and shit. I'm jealous because we never got those back then. All right, conduct, common sense, to be honest, prohibited conduct, failure to wear a uniform. Honestly, I'm gonna just say everything here. Prohibited conduct, you should know everything in here. All right, very important. This one, this part, very, very important. All right, this whole thing. Explorers are not police officers, not authorized to take police actions. All right. They are not to do any of these things. All right. When wearing the uniform and at an exploring event. All right. Explorers may also not use their association with the department to secure special privileges. All right. And obviously, you guys know if you're impersonating a police officer, yeah, you're going to get arrested. Forget dismissal. You're probably going to get arrested. Oh yeah, Nancy, you had a question. I saw your hand up.
No, sorry, I just forgot to put it down.
Oh, okay. Contact with the public, common sense. You guys know how to be courteous, respectful, all that. Compliance with orders. Again, being that they had to highlight this and add this into the manual, obviously you should know that too. So you should know this as well. Public statements. Like I said earlier, you are not allowed to make public statements about anything at all. Nothing about the department, nothing about Learning for Life, my organization, nothing about policies, plans, administrations, whatever. You are not allowed to make anything of an assumption to the press. All right? You are not allowed to do any of that stuff. Personal appearance. Important. All right. Also, you men need to shave. Some of you growing beards are walling. All right. Females, hair in a bun all times. Rewards. Obviously, when people in the public give you stuff, you're not allowed to take it. That's pretty much obvious. Verbal abuse, harassment, common sense. Criminal conduct, common sense. Use of alcohol, should definitely know this stuff, and obviously you're not allowed to do any of that. Discipline, obviously this stuff is common sense, so I'm just going to skim through this. You don't really need to know disciplinary committee, just know that the explorer in charge and the post advisors are basically that person. Discrimination, nah. Processing complaints against explorers, nah. Duty status, nah, it's all right. Common sense. Yeah, why not? Um, Disciplinary action. All right, these are the type of examples of disciplinary action. You can know that stuff. Complaints of criminal activity and duty to cooperate. Yes, yes. You could say that you need to know this. The duty to cooperate to orders. Appeal. Forget that. All right, meetings. All right, so this is the chapter 9 part that I was talking about. Let me read this one real quick about both advisors. Okay, so Roll call will be conducted. All right, so I'll say this already off the bat. You need to know roll call. You need to know this. Explorers will be in the formation. Roll call will be conducted at every meeting. Explorers will be in formation. Again, any sergeant lieutenant can call this command and do all that stuff. All right. Just need to know that the roll call is conducted at the beginning of each meeting. All right. Training. Yeah, I could say you need to know. Actually, I take that back. Post advisor must be present. Actually, yeah. I take that back. It's just saying post advisor has to be present when you guys are doing these training stuff. So yeah, you need to know this. You need to know that. All posts will hold regular meetings. I'm backtracking, by the way, sorry. Maintain an attendance log. All right. Basically just saying you guys hold meetings and you're doing an attendance log. You need to know that. Meeting location. It's just telling you examples of where they can do the meeting locations. And these are just small examples. All right. It's not something for you to really know, but again, it's like common sense. All right. Courtesy to supervisors and adults. Okay. This is kind of the issues we had back in the day. So you guys need to know this. Um, you need to know this. Adult leaders on trips and outings, you don't need to know that. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. News media, obviously, like we just said earlier. What the fuck? Okay. To save your asses if they ask that question, just understand this part. They're just saying, as post advisors, they must notify the CEO. What the? No way. We'll pretend it never happened. We'll pretend it never happened. We'll pretend it never happened, Rinchin. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say your name. All right. Media relations. Yeah. Explore again. Common sense. You already know how to treat yourselves when dealing with the public. Explorers will not divulge information to this department. All right. You're not informants per se. All right. Actually, why didn't I just okay, yeah. You guys don't divulge information, all that stuff. All right. You don't make statements on department policy. That was obvious. Explorers do not divulge information on anyone department, including media. So yeah, I'd say you need to know this again, which is common sense. That's common sense. All right, proficiency awards. Nice. Now we're nearing the end, and just in time too, because I didn't want to go past A for you guys. I really didn't want to go past A. So yeah, we're at the very end. Proficiency awards. You guys will be doing all of these, all of them. You guys would go over everything. Like I said, every proficiency award in here, you're gonna go through all of them, and you are going to memorize what every requirement requires for you to get these certain bars. Like law enforcement training, just do your best to at least understand everything in here. Nah, they'll most likely ask you what the color is. I'm kidding. Like this part is too much. This is a lot. I'm sure they're not gonna ask you a question about all this, but more so what the color and everything represents. So yeah, for law enforcement training, they're not gonna ask you really on this because this is too much in depth, but more the color. All right. Community service, blue and yellow, right? Recognized by doing 100 hours of service, community service. Crime prevention, all night out, or not all night out. Wait, yeah, yeah, the national night out, or yeah, national night out. The thing you guys do for academy, yeah, that thing that you guys do can easily get this done. All right, 8 hours crime prevention instruction. All right, green and gold bar, an additional 8 and all that. Total 25 hours basically. So yeah, that's all I need to know. Law enforcement service, 100 hours of service. You know what? Let me just erase that and let me put that red and gold. Red and gold. All right. Such an assistance to the department, say data, all that stuff. 100 hours of service. Yeah, I'll take that back. Yeah, you can do that. All right, emergency preparedness, red and white, 10 year, red, 1 year in the program, perfect attendance, yellow and white. Obviously, you never missed a meeting. Drug abuse prevention. We barely ever do this in New York. It's one of those bars that we barely ever do this, but it's a blue and silver accommodation bar. And the same thing goes for these national stuff. All right. Nationals, the conference, dark green bar, going to nationals, going to the academy. We let you guys have leeway on this instead of going to the National Academy, going to the New York City Explorer Academy is a good secondary option, which you guys can qualify for this. So you guys can actually get the black bar if you've done the academy, which obviously you guys done because there's no way you can be ranks and not done the academy. All right, the gold E device, the conference device, that just means you did more than one national conference. Still waiting on mine. I've done it 3 times. Eagle or gold recognition, red, white, and blue. Explorer of the year, blue with a gold E in the center. The fitness bar, some of you fitness people. Blue, gold, black, green, red. Blue, gold, black, green, and red. All right. And some of you that actually went above and beyond will actually get a gold star in the center if you guys did the like superstar additional requirements. The LT exam ask about the bars. Yes. They will ask about the bars. They will ask about the colors. In some cases, they will probably ask you, like, for example, how do you get community service 100 hours? How do you get tenure 1 year in the post? So, yeah, they will ask you in some manner of cases, like, what are the specifics to getting it? What are the requirements other than the color? So, yeah. All right. Recruitment recognition. Oh, that's the thing you were talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I never seen anybody so far with the green and red. I've never seen anybody with the green and red, especially with a maximum of 3 gold stars. What? Yeah, I've never seen. Yeah, I've never seen people on this. People taking the lieutenant's exam need to know the sergeant and lieutenant information. I mean, technically, yeah, you should already have known this. So I want to say yes, but at the same time, not exactly. So for the lieutenants, they're mostly going to focus on you guys and your requirements. You don't really need to know the sergeant's information because you're already expected to know all that stuff because you're a sergeant. So they're mainly going to ask you lieutenant stuff. They're not going to ask you sergeant stuff. If you get what I'm saying. So no, they're not going to ask you sergeant stuff, but they expect you to know that. So if they do in the event try to give you like a sergeant question in relations to a lieutenant thing, then I guess you should already know this. And don't worry, I'll give you guys a practice exam at the next session. So we'll actually go over it. Oh yeah. So yeah, like I said, recruitment recognition, green and red. What do you gotta do? Recruited. Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. Explorers was referred to stay in the program for at least 6 months. All right. Every 5 explorers. Yes. That. Yeah. Now I remember. Yep. This was that thing. That's what that thing was. Okay. Yep. When is the next session? I haven't put an actual date, an official date. I said either the November 7th or the 10th, November 7th or the 10th, but I haven't made a confirmed date. And yeah, it has everything here. Yeah, forget all this medical stuff. Forget this BS. This BS. This BS. All right. That is everything in the manual that you should know and be aware of. And my God, I got to do this tomorrow too for the other people that are not here. All right. Does anyone here have any questions regarding the manual, everything that we went over, any of the stuff that might be a further explanation? And you can speak now. All right. So I'm still screen sharing, right? Okay. Great. Oh, well, actually, yeah. All right. So let me pull one of my illustrious exams up. Oh, shit. One, two, three, yada, 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 yada. All right, I'm not, all right, so let me make sure the screen sharing is working. Let me go to my exam. All right, boom. All right, so this is an exam that I made way back in the day. Still good. I made like 3 or 4 of these things. That's why it says type A. All right, basically, so you guys, when you guys go on the 11th to the building to take your exam, when you guys are called up, because you're only going to take it like at a time or all at once, your exam is basically an entire packet of questions that are multiple choice. Lieutenants and captains probably got some short response questions that need answering on a written perspective. All right, sergeants, you guys pretty much got a big majority of multiple choices yourselves, maybe one that's written. And basically, you guys just going through this and trying to finish out everything. And it literally asks you all the questions that are from the manual. So you pretty much got a lot of time, and you just got to take your time with each question, like the issued gear, the fraternization rules, the community service hours that you are required to do each month, all the stuff. You're pretty much expected to do and answer all these during the exam. Does that help answer your question? Yep, no problem. And like I said, I'm gonna give you guys a practice question, a practice exam in the next session. All right. Hopefully you guys can receive this mock exam as a PDF though through email. I want you guys to soak in the information you have now. So that way the next session you guys can go through everything all right? And then we actually go through the exam together, all right? Just so that way you guys can have a clear understanding and better preparedness on the exam. I don't want you guys to like actually do it on your own and then you're probably not taking it like for real serious. Is there a practice for LTs? I mean, I can make one up. I actually made one for a sergeant. I never made one for a lieutenant or captain. But yeah, I can make one up. Yeah, it's no issue. All right, so there's that. Any other questions for lieutenants? Should we memorize the captain requirements as well, or only lieutenants? If you're taking a lieutenant's exam, you don't need to know the captain stuff. You don't need to know the captain stuff if you're taking a lieutenant's exam. All right. So if you're a sergeant trying to take a lieutenant's exam, you do not need to know the captain stuff. If you are a lieutenant going to a captain, you need to know the captain stuff. Cool. Anyone else? Any questions? Anything else? Speak now, forever hold your peace. We got 3 minutes. Thank God I actually got this done within 2 hours.
Malachi, how many questions are going to be on the LT exam?
I would assume. Actually, let me open my thing real quick. Stand by. I would
Yes, sir.
assume at least. How many did I put in here? A lot, didn't I? I did. I did a lot. I would say around 28,
Damn.
20, 25 or 28.
All right. All right. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad. To where it's like it's gonna take like 4 or 5 hours for you guys to do. No, the exams, like honestly, if you were to really study, and I did this for sergeants and the sergeants and the
Mm-hmm.
captains, I literally got it done in like 45 minutes.
Heard you. Okay. Where's the exam at? Where are we doing it?
They didn't tell me. I'm
Um,
assuming we're gonna get the location and everything after, probably after comp.
Do you know if they're doing that memorizing thing again? I know for the sergeant's exam they showed us like a picture and then we had to write down like what we saw and all that.
wait, they did what? We didn't do that for my sergeant's exam.
Oh snap!
Yeah, they showed us a picture and then you had to like write like what color was the guy on the bike wearing or like where was
Oh,
he and
nah,
who.
Nancy, don't scare me like that, bro. My memory is
You didn't
shit.
do that?
No,
No, we never did that. That's
bro.
probably a
The
new
way I
thing
would
or
have failed.
something. It's
Bro, we
probably
all
a
did
new.
that. What do you mean?
What?
Again, our years are different. My year, aka
No, they're not.
2016,
Me and
20.
Rinchen got it in the same year.
Oh, we,
What? Oh shit, I'm brain dead. I don't remember.
oh, well, yeah, for you new people, yeah, they probably do. I know for the
What?
captains and lieutenants, I know this for a fact. They did give us a few explorer scenario questions like yes, memorization, or yes, what would you do in this scenario? And would it be considered, a crime or something like that? They did give us those type of questions, but it wasn't like stuff that was like super confusing for us to answer. Like it
Mm.
was kind of straight understanding. Like if you knew the scenario or how the scenarios work, you know how to answer the question. So
Is
yeah,
there
they
gonna be radio codes on the exam for the sergeants?
I haven't heard of the radio codes, but
Was that in our exam, Nancy? Radio codes? Gee, I know 10-4.
No, I don't think they had.
okay, I
I
say
think they had like
this.
1063, 1013, like that stuff.
Yeah, like you should know 10-4, 10
Yeah.
13, ten eighty
Hmm.
five, 1063, 1090X. You should know all that stuff.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, then
Like
you
the major ones that you use in scenarios, I know that we have to have down. But like other than that, I don't think so.
Heard you. Okay.
cool. All right, I'll let you guys go because it's already past 8, and I know you guys want to fall asleep after school and everything. So hopefully, you guys are going tomorrow to St. John's. Have fun on that trip,
Oh,
especially
that's
you forensic
tomorrow.
science people. Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh, have fun with that.
Malachi, are you how are you giving out the next Zoom meeting?
I'll send it over to the the rank people. Oh, if you are a current rank like a sergeant or higher, but you're not in any like group chat with me, just send me your email right now in the chat. Because yeah, usually I just send the information to those group of ranks. I have them streamline it to the other explorers and other posts or precincts or whatever, and then hopefully it gets to as many people as I want. I just didn't make this like a citywide thing because one, that's too much work, and two, again, I'm doing this on my own time. It's not like I'm paid to do this, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Malachi, none of us are getting paid to do this.
For real, we're just doing more work for a rank.
Right. It's just that I was like OD shocked when I found out that the Zoom link wasn't to everybody because I was like, damn, because now other people are getting um like a review that others aren't. I know for the lieutenant's exam, it just gets gradually harder. So I was a little like stumped and I was like, damn, what the hell? And
It'd be
also
real
none of
nice.
my what?
It'd be real nice if we got paid to do this.
Right?
Bro, I put my back
Nice
into
check
this,
at the end.
bro.
Right. Especially after that PT and BMOC, please.
Bro, don't talk about Bmo. Don't talk about Bmo, please. PTSD.
Damn. Oh
But
well.
Malachi, I sent you my email. Um so
Mm,
there's that. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
no
Yes, sir.
problem. Don't worry, I don't get paid that much. All right. No one hasn't got any